it would have way more repercussions if India were crap but Pakistan were good than just India being crap, if that makes sense.
But let's start with this. What if India lose to Australia and England? What happens to Indian cricket at that point? Because they've just won a World Cup. They've dominated home forever. Does that like balance it back out again?
I think cricket needs that to happen. Do you mean are India going to knee-jerkly sack, new people?
Yeah. Are they going to get rid of all the old guys?
Yeah.
I mean, some of the old guys might go naturally anyway, right?
Yeah, I think
if they lose the World Test Championship, and I should throw that in as well, we assume they're going to qualify. But if they lose that as well in the middle, that would be worse. The bigger what if might be, what happens if they win the World Test Championship but lose to Australia and England?
Yeah, I think that would be. I don't think they're going to lose to England. I mean, England aren't. They're not very good right now.
Yeah. It's unlikely. That's why it's a what if.
Keep Bumrah fit. What if? I think there would be some sweeping changes, and we would not be told exactly what happened. Some people would be sacked, and they would say that they'd resigned and all that sort of thing. But as far as the playing staff goes, the players hold a lot of power, and if you're Kohli and Rohit and whoever, you can kind of, do things how you want. I don't think there'd be masses of issues going on around it. If it did happen, Australia are a bloody good team right now. The white ball side, when they've got all their bowlers, is proper scary. They are hitting it all the way down the
Aaron
order.
Hardy, Xavier Bartlett.
Exactly, all the proper guys.
Matthew Short.
See, they're more than competing with England with none of their good players playing, almost. They've got Travis Head, but when he has a rest, they're still fine. There's not been, just going to betting briefly, there's not been quite as much between them in the first 15 overs as I would usually expect, because they, it's kind of only if Head's there, and they can't, when Hazelwood's not there, you haven't got 5 power play overs going for 3.5. But the good Australia team, the Australia starting 11, is really bloody good in white ball right now.
All right, so let me switch this then.
Go on.
What if they lose to Australia badly? Let's say, I don't know, 4-1, 5-0, 3-0, however you want to put it. A gentleman's sweep. If they lose really, really badly in that series, but then they win the World Test Championship and they draw in England, I think nothing changes. Do you agree?
I agree.
If they lose to Australia really badly, win the World Test Championship and lose to England, I think there's still changes.
I agree. I think they'll probably scapegoat a player who is easily replaced, because they've got 3 or 4 players who could just be straight swap for somebody else. Bumrah can't be, but any fast bowler can just be swapped for someone else. We're getting to the end of some spinners, so Kuldeep should definitely play sometimes, and he just doesn't. Kuldeep is not someone that they're going to be dispensed with forever. But there are a few guys there. They just go, all right, we'll let KL have a go then, and we'll go. But do you know what I mean? They've got so much depth. When you see the kind of greens v oranges v reds v blues or whatever, all 4 of those teams are awesome.
Good. Yeah.
And you're like, no other country can do that. Can just say, right, we're going to play. Look at England when they try and mutilate the blast and end up with nobody allowed to play. When you get down to, you look at the starting 11s that are being played against each other in some of these county championship games, and a lot of the players, let's face it, are crap. And the guys that were good overseas players 7 years ago are still the best players in the county championship teams. Whereas when India are going, right, let's have a 4-day tournament or a 1-day tournament, and here's the 4 teams that are playing, bloody hell, all of those players are awesome. So they have such a huge strength in depth, so it's very easy.
Disrespect there, but I'm just going to let that go. All right, so let's do one last what if for India, because there aren't that many what ifs for India, I think, coming up outside of what we've just talked about. What if India are really crap at the Champions Trophy? Does that matter because they've just won a World Cup?
They have just won a World Cup. Does it matter? Yeah, I think it does, because it comes back to how do you rank stuff, and if you're India, the World Test Championship is probably a thing. If you're English, it isn't, for whatever reason. So what's more important than the 50 over World Cup, I would venture, is the most important thing to Indian cricket fans. The 50 over World Cup is the biggest deal, right? And they had a bad final in that. We've spoken about that plenty of times. You and I did the watch along at the time. that was a huge deal. The 20 over World Cup, they seem to happen all the time. I don't think they have as much context as cricket wants them to have. I forget which one was last and which one was next and all that. Like, there's too much of that. The Champions Trophy is the next biggest thing in one-day cricket after the World Cup. It just is. Yeah. And it's not as good as the World Cup because they pick which teams are in it pretty much, and we're only allowed 8 of them. We don't know where it's going to be right now, do we?
Pakistan.
I think, let's say it's in Pakistan, right? That's what we're being told right now. India should have enough firepower plus Bumrah to do really well. If they did really crap, I think that would have repercussions for Indian cricket. I do. I think that is a tournament that is a big deal. And if Pakistan happened to be good, and that is a what if, but if Pakistan happened to be good and the pitches suited Pakistan, and I'm not quite sure right now as we go into press what sort of pitch does suit Pakistan at the moment. But let's say, but Pakistan, they've done this before. They got themselves at bloody 200-1 to win the Champions Trophy 2 Champions Trophies ago and nearly won it. Got themselves into 3-1 or something. They're a team that can just suddenly be amazing from having been awful for a year and a half. But if Pakistan were to beat India along the way, and Pakistan, I think, let's say India bomb out, which can happen to anybody in that tournament, when there's the 8 good teams, and England might be good for 3 weeks or whatever. It would have way more repercussions if India were crap but Pakistan were good than just India being crap, if that makes sense.